Audio Jungle.
Welcome. Today's movie, very interesting movie from I Am Flicks. Very interesting movie for you today regarding the life of Hugh O'Flaherty. He was from Killarney, County Kerry. He was an Irish Catholic priest, a senior official of the Roman Catholic Church, and he was leading the resistance against the Nazis. During World War II, this Monsignor was responsible for saving 6,000 people, over 6,000 people. His ability to evade the traps by the German Gestapo made him a legend. As he said, God has no country. This was not about Italy, Germany, etc. This was about people to him. And here we have a statue to Mr. Hugh O'Flaherty. And today's story is based on the true events of how he battled with the Nazis, and especially one Nazi, Herbert Klappler. So we're going to see a very interesting story today. The statue here to exist as a memorial. Now this movie is a memorial. The Scarlet and the Black, as we're going to present a fair use version. It is 1943, and the Nazis have moved into Rome. An occupation.
As the Führer's grand tour draws to its end, he stands with the Duce and Italy's king and queen to watch the march past of the fascist army. And the fascist army also includes the women. It's the greatest military parade that Rome has ever seen.
I think, therefore, I watch I Am Flicks. I Am Flicks presenting you today the story of courage, passion, and honesty. You see, the Romans have embraced the Nazis as they come in. At least why some of them have. But this has produced some different problems for the world, as we will be able to see developing in our story. I'm Desiree Duvernay, and I'm editing this movie today. This incredible story of courage. It needs to be told to you. Based on the book, The Scarlet and Black. It's a true story.
And then the trumpets ring out the news. They're open. And then Rome echoes to the roar of 10,000 machines, and the old walls of the Colosseum must be thinking that they're back in the days of the Caesar. Only now they're seeing double. There are two Caesars. And while the rest of the world wonders what next, the fascist nation shouts its approval as two strong men show each other just how polite they are. It's yours. Oh, no, it's yours. Oh, but most certainly yours.
Here we have Mussolini and Hitler leading the Axis army.
But look what comes of dictators exchanging ideas. If it weren't for the fact that they do it slower and don't step so high, Hitler might think he was in Berlin instead of in Rome. And if he don't do it right, chop his head off.
The Nazi general is about to meet Pope Pius XII, the Pope and the leader of the Vatican City.
November 5th, 1943, at 8:15 p.m., in the midst of World War II, a plane flies over the neutral state of Vatican City. It then goes on to drop 5 bombs on the world's smallest state, causing severe damage to the water tank near the railway station, as well as the offices of the governorate and the Vatican Mosaic Workshop.
In the midst of bombings, threats, and war, yet Pope Pius still is an honorable man and meets with the Nazis.
The international press spoke of nothing else for almost a week, all trying to guess who was responsible for the bombing. 7 days after the blasts, Pius XII asked the press to end all speculation, and his only wish was to avoid further violence.
Father, may I present General Helm, commander of the SS in Italy.
Your Holiness, I've come to pay you my respects and to inform you officially that the German army is in total control of Rome.
In other words, General, your forces have occupied our city.
And I'm to convey the Führer's personal guarantee that Vatican neutrality will continue to be respected. In return, I would ask Your Holiness to confirm in your communiques German troops, particularly SS detachments, are behaving correctly and with restraint.
I shall be happy to report that you have asked me to confirm that, General.
The religious people of the city, the country, and the world are looking for leadership from the Pope. What will he do? He is caught in the politics of the time, but still fights for his religion.
May I present Colonel Herbert Kappler? Colonel Kappler has been personally selected by Reichsführer Himmler as head of police in Rome.
I'm relieved to hear that the German police consider it their duty to protect ordinary citizens.
My duty is to maintain order in the streets, discourage resistance, and to round up escaped prisoners.
Prisoners?
After Italy's capitulation, many enemy prisoners of war escaped from prison camps and were left unguarded.
The streets of Rome are full of the German soldiers in a draconian attempt to make order and capture prisoners.
That large numbers are heading for Rome. Some may even be making for the Vatican to seek refuge. These, of course, will be arrested before they reach here. But
Jews, Catholics, and a whole host of other prisoners, etc., are all trying to find asylum, safety, and escape from the Nazi Empire, and escape from the concentration camps.
in case of unfortunate incidents, I intend, with your permission, to have a white line drawn across the opening of St. Peter's Square. The line will show the exact start of Vatican territory and at the same time make my men aware of it and prevent any of them, any armed German soldiers, from violating it.
The Gestapo rule and the Nazi brutality extends throughout the city, creating terror. Yes, a white line will be drawn to separate the Vatican City, which is protected, from the rest of the city. Enter our story. There's much resistance to this Nazi occupation.
Well, I thank you for your consideration, Colonel. And I can only hope that our relations between the Church and your armed forces will remain as reasonable. Good day, gentlemen.
October 16, 1943 is ingrained in Italy's history as a day of clear and direct anti-Semitism. It's the day when Nazi soldiers evacuated Jews from the Roman ghetto. And now, new details show how Pius XII helped Jews in Rome before the events of the so-called Black Saturday, even before the arrival of the Nazis to the Eternal City.
It's certainly a relief, Holy Father. They seem prepared to act reasonably. He must have been very sure of my permission. Kepler is the one to watch, of course, with his white line. It is not meant merely to keep his men out. It is a reminder to us of our authority, of how far we can go.
Papi, you must my hair.
Oh, you're your mother's daughter, Liesel, eh?
Look, look.
I'll tell you something, children. When I was little more than a boy, I came here to this city, and I fell in love with Rome.
In all, 43 monasteries opened their doors to Rome's Jewish population before the occupation.
Now you make a wish, and then you throw the in, and your wish will come true.
Mama says if you throw in a coin, it means one day you'll come back to Rome.
But that's a wish that's bound to be granted, because we're never going to leave.
And it could change the perception of the role Pope Pius XII played during World War II.
Born in Ireland, sir, of peasant stock, late entry into the Jesuit college where he was known for his strong anti-British sentiments.
Is that so?
Appointed vice-rector of propaganda at the college here in Rome at the age of 28, then Vatican charge d'affaires in Egypt.
He'd been transferred to the diplomatic service.
Yes, sir.
Has reported that Hitler had intentions to assassinate Pius XII as a revenge against the Italians who arrested his ally, Benito Mussolini. According to the reconstruction of events, the plot was being planned at the Reich's general headquarters in Berlin at the end of July 1943.
That is when O'Flaherty was sent there, sir. The purpose of his mission has never been discovered. But in '38, when he returned to Rome to join the Holy Office, several of the people whom he was associated with and whom the Gestapo wanted to interview disappeared.
He helped them to escape.
I'm a good liar, too, aren't I, Mr. Bradley?
The best I ever met.
Uh-huh. Thank you very much.
Say, come with me.
We have respected Vatican territory, but it has been violated again and again.
Then I suggest you make your report to your authorities, Colonel.
I am the authority in Rome, and I tell you that an illegal organization exists which is hiding prisoners of war and is being directed by one of your staff.
O'Flaherty was able to outwit, trick the Nazis, and be able to defeat them as he moved thousands of people to safety.
I want to question him.
I regret that will not be possible.
You know who I'm talking about. Monsignor O'Flaherty of the Holy Office. He has charges to answer.
I'm afraid I cannot give my permission.
Hitler wanted to teach Italy a lesson by deporting or killing the King of Italy and the Pope. But the head of the German intelligence service at the time, Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, decided to boycott the operation. He told an Italian general who spread the word in Rome that the Nazis wanted to kill the Pope. After that, the plan was abandoned.
I ask only out of courtesy. I intend to question him now.
I know your methods of questioning, Colonel. Even of priests. May I remind you where you are, and that all my officials here have diplomatic immunity.
3 years later, Admiral Canaris was executed for participating in Operation Walkyria, a failed plot to assassinate Hitler.
There is nothing more to be said. If you wish to create an incident here, Colonel Kepler, then please continue.
But the people of Rome still strongly Catholic. Even though they're occupied, Kepler cannot risk an incident or any confrontation. he must back down.
Monsignore, cosa è venuto a fare lei qui?
Frequentare i ricevimenti dei nemici è l'unica maniera di sapere qualcosa.
Questo è un invito che non avrebbe dovuto accettare.
The priest
L'ho già visto.
and the Nazi, they will meet in social occasions. They will try to be civil to each other.
Colonnello Kappler, questa
But
sì che è una
the
sorpresa.
priest knows a little bit about the family
Speravo di
life
riprendere quel colloquio interrogativo.
of the
No,
Nazi
come? Io pensavo che
and
ci
his
fossimo già
children.
detti tutto quello che avevamo da dirci. Già.
A family life
Questo prima che io le dessi
where the Nazi
il mio
takes
autore.
his ideas of how to treat
Quando ancora non
humans
conoscevo il suo spirito
to his
puro,
children.
devo dire che anche lei ha un certo spirito. È vero. Ma io sono tedesco e conosco i miei nemici.
They can discuss many different social things, but it gets to be more and more difficult as they start to discuss more about the family life.
Dicono tutti che lei è molto spiritoso, ma io la trovo assai delusa. Oh, mi scusi. Volevo semplicemente essere sicuro che ci fossimo capiti.
The Nazi draconian ideas are counter to the ideas of the priest and love and compassion.
Da questa sera, se lei dovesse mettere un solo piede fuori dal territorio vaticano, sarebbe immediatamente...
Now, this is your new governess, Fräulein Maria. As I sound your signals, you will step forward and give your name. You, Fräulein, will listen carefully. Learn their signals so that you can call them when you want them.
Lisa. Friedrich. Luisa. Kurt. Brigitte. Martha.
The two will not see eye to eye on many things.
Now, when I want you, this is what you will hear.
Oh, no, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I could never answer to a whistle. Whistles are for dogs and cats and other animals, but not for children, and definitely not for me. It would be too humiliating.
The pressures of the family and the pressures of the job, the pressures of the Nazi draconian forces start to wear on Herr Klappner and produce friction that has a hard time being managed. And the two argue vehemently and become enemies.
Called Santiago Gap, the priest who confronted Hitler. It is the story of this Marianist who was persecuted and executed by the Gestapo for opposing the Nazis.
There are many other priests who tried to defy Hitler. One of them was Santiago Gap.
He was famous for strongly criticizing Nazism in his homilies.
The Nazis did not like the priests and religion, and they only tolerated them because of what they saw in the people. And there was many other different types of priests who were abused. Santiago Gap was just one of them in Germany. We have many different stories that we need to look at and tell of the defiance that was happening between the religious and the Nazis.
The situation intensified so much in Austria that he decided to escape. He first went to France, and then in 1941 he went to Spain. He taught in a school. His students said he spoke about respecting Jews. For this reason, the father of one of the children denounced him. The Gestapo sent undercover agents who pretended to be Jews. They tricked him into crossing the French border. There they arrested him and took him to a prison in Berlin. He was tortured, sentenced to death, and beheaded in 1943.
The priesthood and the religious are men of peace, men of compassion, and they're not men of arms. They're not men of antagonism. They try to find peaceful ways of dealing with each other. Here they have some of the collection of the wealth of the Vatican that has to be stashed away to protect it from the Nazis. as this is producing difficult times. But the Pope has to share with the priest some of these different concepts, making sure that their feelings of right and wrong, and the way they treat children, the way they treat families, that this is all utilized, and people can understand this. The Pope cannot really take action against the Nazis, but he knows that his Monsignor, Hugh O'Flaherty, is helping people, helping to get prisoners to safety, helping families to unite, helping Jews to escape. The Pope is aware of these things and fights for this, and fights for the families who have rights through the operation of Hugh O'Flaherty, who's the silent arm of the religion.
If you're wise, stay out of it.
Why are you doing this?
We need more people in the work camps. These have been chosen. The chosen people.
I thought they had to give us shelter. I thought they had to help anyone who asked. Bleeding eye times.
There's no need to go running away.
You speak English?
Well, after a fashion, the name's O'Flaherty. You lads look terrible. Could you do with a bite to eat and a place to stay? Come on. Well, I'd advise you to trust me, or you'll end up in Regina Coeli prison by nightfall. Who gave these orders?
Colonel Coupler. Take it up with him.
Imprisonment, hatred, anger is filling the city of Rome. And our friend the priest, Hugh O'Flaherty, is able to take disguises and able to outwit the German Nazis, the Gestapo agents, the SS. He's able to use his genius, his wits, to be able to outwit them and to keep ahead of these Nazis and to help many people escape. But it puts a high price onto our friend, is that his life is in constant danger. The Germans are constantly trying to find him. But yet he uses a multitude of disguises, craftily trying to get by.
Buongiorno, Capitan. How about a special portrait, Their Holiness the Pope, huh?
Finding ways that he can get across the white line, even masquerading as one of the Nazis themselves, in order to see a friend in prison. This incredible story of the Pimpernel of the Vatican.
Watch it now. That's the boy. Are you all right?
Yeah. I'm all right.
Now you've a trick of leaning to the left when you're going to hook. That's when you leave yourself open. Try to remember that. Good morning, Julia.
Monsignor.
Don't go bobbing at me now. Now tell your mother to expect 3 more boarders just for 2 nights.
him masquerading as a nun to be able to cross the white line, to be able to go out and help others. Incredible story. As he visits people in prison in order to bring compassion and hope and prayer to those caught in prison. Our friend the Pope understands this and cannot officially recognize these acts, but he's definitely appreciative.
Ci hanno calpestato tanti eserciti, eppure niente è cambiato. Andranno e torneranno i conquistatori, ma l'eterno significato della Chiesa deve rimanere.
Yes, our friend O'Flaherty, posing in many different ways, having many ideas and disguises to be able to help to trick the Nazis and to help people find freedom, safety, asylum, and sanctuary.
Ogni pontefice eredita la responsabilità di tutti I papi da San Pietro.
The Pope remembers, and the Catholic Church, and the entire world will remember the heroic, courageous, clever acts of our friend O'Flaherty, and how he dealt with people, and how he dealt with lives, how he creatively tried to help people to deal with themselves.
Oh, the hard idea.
Let's see you do it.
L'eredità e l'esistenza della Santa Chiesa. Da più parti si mormora su una mancata presa di posizione verso il nazismo e di aver promosso un concordato che garantisse la vita della Chiesa in Germania. È errato questo.
Come poteva sembrare un errore a quel tempo, Santo Padre?
Ho sempre fatto quanto ritenevo giusto per la Chiesa.
Let's see you do it.
Sure.
And the Nazi general sits, builds up more and more hate towards this Scarlet Pimpernel, but he can't quite get. Truth lies, compassion, hatred, army. Our story is filled with so many dichotomies, so many poles, so many theses and antitheses. As time goes by,
Are you saying that you are against the Führer?
I am against anyone who kills with an unmerciful heart.
You want to be hanging like an old wet towel in Stachelheim?
A country with such culture, a country with such history, how does it fall to its knees?
right to keep this man in prison. I want this man released now. Don't do this to me.
Dear God, this is my Germany.
Yes, the Nazi general so hates this man, it has made a fool of him. Just waits for him to cross the line. Would love to be able to pull that trigger. But yet.
A German sentry on guard in the hills, while Italian widows come to mourn over the graves of civilians massacred by German army units. They pray for the departed souls of patriots who have given their lives in the cause of liberty. These scenes were photographed prior to the capture of the Eternal City.
In Rome, a Nazi flag flies and a wreath is laid at the tomb of the Italian unknown soldier.
I remember, Father.
Play us something we know, please.
Well.
"500 members of the so-called Hitler Youth march past in demonstration of the newly established accord between Germany and Italy. And who takes the salute? Don't tell me, I shall recognize him presently."
Every morning you greet me, small and white, clean and bright. You look happy to me.
A significant visit. Germany and Italy, Nazis and fascists draw together.
I am today a very proud man.
My homeland
And gradually, our Nazi friend, through his wife, his love for his children, and seeing the compassion of the Catholic Church, he starts to have a new idea. It starts to possibly change a little bit in the heart. Just a little bit.
Like a sleepy blue ocean, you fill up my senses. Come fill me again.
Although it happened last June, it's not too late to see these secretly photographed pictures of the Germans getting out of Rome. It was an anti-fascist cameraman who took them, and the obvious haste with which the Boche made their exit is clear to see. Rome, proclaimed an open city, is practically deserted as the unwelcome tenants are evicted by circumstance, plus a Fifth Army hot on their heels. Heavy demands on petrol cause them to commandeer anything with wheels on.
The Germans are losing the war. The Allies are advancing, starting to enter into Rome. And the Nazi general asked his wife to leave and to pack, and leave quickly, as if their safety might be in jeopardy.
The seaport town of Ancona on the Adriatic presented a sorry sight to Polish troops of the Eighth Army when they entered it. The station, bombed out of all recognition, bears witness to the visits paid by Allied aircraft. Electric railway coaches, fit only for the scrap heap, lie in a jumble of twisted lines and overhead gear.
In 2 days, 3 at the most, we evacuate Rome.
Don't you understand? You'd be lucky to get away.
As the Allies advance, the people of Rome are angry at their Nazi occupiers and take some revenge on them.
Transport left. I have to arrange something.
There's been enough pain, enough killing.
Yes, sir!
There were 2 Israels when Moses came down the mountain. Now there is 2 Germanys. 2! Here! You may have it! It's the only cross you will ever see.
The Allied entry into Rome was made as the wheels of the mighty invasion machine were already turning. We must not let our thoughts drift away from the great victories of our armies in Italy, or let their wonderful achievements go unsung. The 2 offensives are far too closely related for that. The timing of their blows so obviously synchronized. But Rome is not without its incidents. Revolt against tyranny is expressed in several ways. In the Piazza Venezia, anti-fascists hurl a bomb into a large insurance building in which several fascists are in hiding. The temper of the crowd boils over, and there's a rush to lay hands on them. Italian carabinieri working under Allied instructions are sent in to stop bloodshed. But nearby, Italian patriots are smashing down the door of another building. They want to get at a bunch of quislings who have been working with the Germans at this radio studio, converted into a Nazi headquarters. This time they're lucky. They chuck the quislings out into the street, socking them good and plenty.
The Nazi general, desperate, schedules a late night private meeting with the priest to ask for help.
You alone? I am. Not afraid I'll shoot you?
No, if you'd been going to kill me, your man would already have done it in my room.
That is so. But believe me, at this moment, nothing would give me greater pleasure.
When it comes down to it, a bullet's your answer to just about everything, isn't it? The only argument you've got.
I know what you think of me, you and your church, but you forget. I have my orders. I'm a soldier. I do my duty.
You can't hide behind that, Kepler. Don't debase the word duty.
My orders were to occupy Rome, control the city. In a war, that means whatever it takes to do it, whether you like it or not.
And you think that absolves you of any responsibility?
Yes. What is important is the Reich, not Rome. What is Rome? All its greatness is over. All that's left is a picture postcard, a playground for whores and priests.
What is it you want from me, Kepler?
They say that you can't pass a beggar or a lame dog, but that you see yourself with some sort of obligation.
Fifth Army men drive through the city, past the Colosseum, place of ancient Roman holidays of quite a different nature.
Help British and American prisoners, Jews, Arabs, refugees, anybody. It's a part of your faith. Is that right?
Well, I wouldn't deny it. That's why I became a priest.
Brotherly love and forgiveness. That's the other half of what you believe. True? True. Well, I'm glad of it, because I have 3 more for your mercy wagon.
Through the streets of Rome drives General Mark Clark. The capital is intact and wears no scars of battle. The illustrious city has been wrested undamaged from the enemy.
My wife and 2 children. If the partisans get them, they will be killed. I want them out of Rome and safe. That's what I want from you, priest.
The population gives itself up to excitement as the shackles of German domination fall away.
You're asking me to save your family.
If you really believe what you preach, you'll do it.
You expect me to help you after what you've done? You think you can demand forgiveness?
The freeing of Rome has crowned a long succession of victories in Africa and Europe by General Sir Harold Alexander.
You think it comes automatically just because you want it?
I'm not talking about myself.
You've turned this city into a concentration camp. You've tortured and butchered my friends. You've violated every principle of God and man.
The Nazis and their authoritarianism robbed humanity of all their ideals.
I can't believe it after all you've done. You want mercy.
I told you. For my family.
They're just part of you, part of what you stand for. They've taken whatever they could get without a thought for the suffering all around them. And now you demand that they be saved. I'll see you in hell first.
No. You're no different from anyone else.
Did war take the compassion, the care, the ethics out of everybody?
All your talk means nothing. Charity, forgiveness, mercy. It's all lies.
You hear me? Lies!
Is the instinct, the human instinct for revenge, capable of taking humanity away from everybody, away from the religious, away from the saints, the priests? Is it true that we have lost touch, that this type of conflict can do this?
There's no God, no humanity.
You hear me? You hear me? Priest!
Kepler is arrested by the Allies.
What's the meaning of this?
And thrown into jail.
Shut the door's a terrible draft.
On your feet, Chapman, in the presence of the Commandant.
Dear, look who's giving orders around here now.
This is only the first inquiry into your activities as head of the Gestapo here in Rome.
Do you deny the systematic use of torture on suspects?
Colonel Kepler, we know all about your wife and children. Minna, isn't it? And Franz and Liesel.
And now in jail, the captured Nazi thinks back about the priest, what he said to him.
What do you know? What has happened to them?
Now you're playing games, Colonel. Your wife and children disappeared from Rome. They were smuggled into Switzerland, as you well know.
Yes, there was compassion. The priest did save his family, his wife and children. And the hatred that he had, he now must deal with.
Now, how was it done? Who helped them? It takes some organization. Now, if you tell us how it was done and who helped them, it might do you some good at your trial.
He knew who helped them. He knew what happened, because it was to find out later that our friend the priest put on the clothes that Kepler had and took his family up over the mountains into Switzerland. Took some other children and took the family up there to save them. That's what this priest would do. And that in prison, Kepler would then learn to have to deal with this and recognize who saved his family. And that there really was honor in the world today.
under Allied occupation, the spacious scene looking towards the imposing Cathedral of St. Peter. Adjoining it is the Vatican, the vast palace of the popes. Many Allied soldiers are seeing all this architectural splendor for the first time. Recently at the Vatican, the Pope received in audience soldiers of the Allied armies. 4,000 men, mostly Roman Catholics, heard an address from the Pontiff, spoken in English.
Beloved sons, it is a real joy for us to welcome you all here within the very own home of the common Father of Christendom. Your presence naturally recalls to our mind the very pleasant days we had once the privilege of passing in the great capital of the British Empire. And while we greet and bless you here present, we also send our blessing to all you dear ones over there, with the prayer that God, in His love and mercy, may be with you always. Power of the Filius et the Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. Amen.
It is worthy of mention that this is the first British newsreel sound picture of its kind, a revealing story from within the audience hall of the Vatican.
Well, our story doesn't end there. You see, our friend the priest is the only person who will visit Clapler while he's in prison.
To comedy and tragedy. Sadness gives birth to talent.
When I've exhausted myself, destroying everything in an effort to save you.
After the liberation, Monsignor Hugh O'Flaherty was honored by Italy, Canada, and Australia, given the United States Medal of Freedom, and made a commander of the British Empire. Herbert Kapler was sentenced to life imprisonment for war crimes. In the long years that followed in his Italian prison, Kapler had only one visitor. Every month, year in and year out, O'Flaherty came to see him. In 1959, the former head of the dreaded Gestapo in Rome was baptized into the Catholic faith at the hand of the Irish priest.
Here's another side of Italian demonstration. Huge crowds make their way to St. Peter's to hear the Pope giving thanks for the sparing of the city from destruction. His speech from the balcony is recorded by an RAF film unit.
E di inimmaginabili distruzioni. Guarda oggi con nuova speranza e con rinnovata fiducia alla sua salvezza.
More applause from the Romans as Italian soldiers parade the flag through the streets. They like to share in the victory. While Rome goes gay, the 5th and 8th armies are rolling up the Germans in retreat. The Allies are out to convert Kesselring's defeat into final catastrophe.
And one more bit of the story. You see, our friend the priest had one more thing to do, is that he helped Kapler escape from prison. He helped this evil Nazi man who had repented and found religion, was baptized. He helped Kapler. Here's a picture of the real Kapler. And he helped this man escape. Real glory story. These two sworn enemies become friends. And then he is returned to his wife and family.
Let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter. Let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you. Let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. My senses, like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses. Come fill me again.
This is a story that needed to be told, honored, and respected. So this is Desiree Duvernay. I hope you've enjoyed my story today about the Irishman who saved the lives of over 6,000